Hey, first grade, we're going to do history lesson 21. History lesson 21. This is actually titled King John and the Abbot. So let's take a look at our names, places, and vocabulary. In this story, we'll hear about King John. The places, we're still in England. And the vocabulary for this lesson, the first word is Abbott. Abbott. Vocabulary word, vocabulary word, vocabulary word. Abbott is a man who is the head of an abbey of monks. Abbott is the man who's the head of an abbey of monks. Oh, don't poke your fingers up. I'm trying to make a circle on my head because the monks had a funny haircut. The monks had a haircut like this during this time. This haircut's called a tonsure. So when we act out the word, excuse me, abbot, he's a man who's the head of an abbey of monks. The abbot was in charge. The abbey is where they lived, and the monks were men who had devoted their lives to God. And they wore this tonsure haircut, to show religious devotion or humility. So that's what an abbot was. He was in charge of the monks. Okay. The other word that we're going to see is pardon. Okay. Pardon. Does anybody know the word pardon? Right? Could be. Vocabulary word, vocabulary word, vocabulary word. Pardon means released from consequences. See, I was breaking chains because I was released. Pardon is to be released from consequences. Okay, did you do that? Yeah. When you are pardoned, you're released from the punishment that you were going to get. So as we listen to this story, let me tell you that today's story is about the evil King John and a wise old shepherd. Also, this reading could be broken into two parts. It is a little bit longer, so I might a little way into it, I'll say if you'd like to pause here, if you want to keep listening, and if you want to pause here, pause here. Okay, King John and the Abbot. The first part is called the 3 questions. There was once a king of England whose name was John. He was a bad king, for he was harsh and cruel to his people. And so long as he could have his own way, he did not care what became of other folks. He was the worst king that England ever had. Now, there was in the town of Canterbury a rich old abbot who lived in grand style in a great house called the Abbey. Every day 100 noble men sat down with him to dine, and 50 brave knights in fine velvet coats and gold chains waited upon him at his table. When King John heard of the way in which the abbot lived, he made up his mind to put a stop to it. So he sent for the old man to come and see him. "How now, my good abbot," he said, "I hear that you keep a far better house than I. How dare you do such a thing? Don't you know that no man in the land ought to live better than the king? And I tell you that no man shall." "O king," said the abbot, "I beg to say that I am spending nothing but what is my own. I hope that you will not think ill of me for making things pleasant for my friends and the brave knights who are with me." "Think ill of you," said the king. "How can I help but think ill of you? All that there is in this broad land is mine by right, and how dare you to put me to shame by living in grander style than I? One would think that you were trying to be king in my place. "Oh, do not say so," said the abbot, "for not another word," cried the king. "Your fault is plain, and unless you can answer me 3 questions, your head shall be cut off, and all your riches shall be mine." I will try to answer them, O king," said the abbot. "Well, then," said King John, "as I sit here with my crown of gold on my head, you must tell me to within a day just how long should I live. Secondly, you must tell me how soon I shall ride round the whole world. And lastly, you shall tell me what I think." "Oh, king," cried the abbot, "these are deep, hard questions, and I cannot answer them just now. But if you will give me 2 weeks to think about them, I will do the best that I can." "2 weeks you shall have," said the king, "but if you then fail to answer me, you shall lose your head, and all your land shall be mine." The abbot went away very sad and in great fear. He first rode to Oxford. Here was a great school called a university, and he wanted to see if any of the wise professors could help him. But they shook their heads and said that there was nothing about King John in any of their books. Then the abbot rode down to Cambridge, where there was another university, but not one of the teachers in that great school could help him. At last, sad and sorrowful, he rode toward home to bid his friends and his brave knights goodbye, for now he had not a week to live. If you want to pause here and do the first part, that'd be great, because our next section is called The 3 Answers. But if you're going to keep going, let's keep going. As the abbot was riding up the lane which led to his grand house, he met his shepherd going to the fields. "Welcome home, good master," cried the shepherd. "What news do you bring us from King John?" "Sad, sad news," said the abbot, and then he told him all that had happened. "Oh, cheer up, good master," said the shepherd. "Have you never yet heard that a fool may teach a wise man wit? I think I can help you out of your trouble." "You help me?" cried the abbot. "How? How?" "Well," answered the shepherd, "you know that everybody says that I look just like you, and that I have sometimes been mistaken for you. So lend me your servants and your horse and your gown, and I will go up to London and see the king. If nothing else can be done, I can at least die in your place." "My good shepherd," said the abbot, "you are very, very kind, and I have a mind to let you try your plan, but if the worst comes to the worst, you shall not die for me. I will die for myself." So the shepherd got ready to go at once. He dressed himself with great care. Over his shepherd's coat, he threw the abbot's long gown, and he borrowed the abbot's cap and golden staff. When all was ready, no one in the world would have thought that he was not the great man himself. Then he mounted his horse and with a great train of servants set out for London. Of course, the king did not know him. "Welcome, Sir Abbot," he said. "It is a good thing that you have come back. But prompt as you are, if you fail to answer my 3 questions, you shall lose your head." Here, the picture. And the shepherd dressed as the abbot and King John. "I am ready to answer them, O king," said the shepherd. "Indeed, indeed," said the king, and he laughed to himself. "Well, then, answer my first question. How long shall I live? Come, you must tell me to the very day." "You shall live," said the shepherd, "until the day that you die, and not one day longer. And you shall die when you take your last breath, and not one moment before." The king laughed. "Ha, ha, ha! You are witty, I see," he said, "but we will let that pass, and say that your answer is right. And now tell me how soon I may ride round the world. You must rise with the sun, said the shepherd, and you must ride with the sun until it rises again the next morning. As soon as you do that, you will find that you have ridden round the world in 24 hours. The king laughed again. Ha ha ha! Indeed, he said. I did not think that it could be done so soon. You are not only witty, but you are wise, and we will let that answer pass. And now comes my third and last question. What do I think? That is an easy question, said the shepherd. You think that I am the Abbot of Canterbury, but to tell you the truth, I am only his poor shepherd, and I have come to beg your pardon for him and for me. And with that, he threw off his long gown. The king laughed loud and long. Oh, that was loud and long. A merry fellow you are, he said, and you shall be the Abbot of Canterbury in your master's place. Oh, king, that cannot be, said the shepherd, for I can never read nor write. Oh, very well then, said the king. I will give you something else to pay you for this merry joke. I will give you 4 pieces of silver every week, as long as you live. And when you get home, you may tell the old abbot that you have brought him a free pardon from King John. And that is the story of King John and the Abbot. Now, here's your prompt. There was once a king of England whose name was John. Pause if you're going to do your narration. Okay, for reflection and application, what is good or virtuous in this story? Remember that virtue is something that we should want to copy or be like. Okay, and 2 things we hear obviously is greed from the king. He was a very greedy fellow. He did not want anybody to have more than he. We also heard this story, we hear this word repeatedly, selflessness. And that's exactly, the shepherd was willing to give his life for the abbot, which again brings home our sweet Savior Jesus, who gave his life for us. That is History Lesson 21. See you later.